Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome back to the Glass Man's World. We're just about to get started here. I'm not sure what I'm even making yet. I know I have a lot of inventory to just keep on working on, keep on making. People keep on asking me for different things. I'm like, I do make those and I normally have those and I just haven't had time to make those. So there's a lot of different things I need to make. I did uh, sell my very first Super Mario mushrooms yesterday and got those out, hooked it up. I only have one left, one available. Not that one that I showed, that one's one of mine I'm keeping. There's only one available. So if you want it, if you're local, it's $50. I think I have to do them for 50. I don't know anyone else who's making them. I don't know anyone else who knows how to make them. So until other people make them, I'm keeping my Super Mario Brother mushrooms at $50. And once competition comes in, then maybe I'll lower them down to at the least the minimum will probably be 30. So at this point, I can do sales and things like that, which is really cool. Oh, this is something interesting. In other news, um, apparently recently President Trump put a ban, a federal ban on all CBD products, all hemp products. Something happened with when the shutdown, when the government shut down, when it reopened, and the paperwork, whatever was passed, there had some bills passed in there, and apparently CBD and hemp became illegal. But now there's talks that Trump is going to fully legalize cannabis by switching it from a substance or a Schedule 1 classification to probably a Schedule 3, which would be really interesting because then it makes it towards legal across the board entirely. And that's gonna that's gonna change things up. That's gonna be really interesting. Alright, but I gotta watch that video here soon. It popped up on my screen here, so that's why I'm like, oh yeah, that I gotta watch that. Alright. So I'm gonna bring my video up here so that way, oops, sorry. There's all kinds of sound here going. Let me mute this real quick. Alright, so I know for sure I need to make a bunch of spinning tops. I only have red and like maybe one blue. I have no solid green mushrooms, which is interesting. All of my mushrooms that I have are like a really light green, almost yellow green. So I need to make some of those. So I'm just going to start making some stuff. We're just going to hang out. I'm just going to make some things. We're letting the kiln get up. We'll probably work on some other special glass. It's Saturday. I ain't got a job. I ain't got shit to do. We just gonna burn and melt all day. Just kidding. This is my job. And I work every day. I don't think there's a day that I ever take off from work. And it probably like shows here how many times I go live, how often I go live here. You can probably see just how often I work. And that's just when I decide to go live. You know, sometimes I'll just work and not even have you guys here with me. But a lot of the times I bring you guys on board because I'm bored. It just gives me something to do. And I like to share what I do. I like to do demonstration, live demos. I know people like to watch this, and I also like to be able to archive these things. It's really cool to be able to share this, later on in years if my children, my family want to check this out, others want to see what I did, maybe, years from now when I've passed on, longer here, then these videos will still be able to serve a purpose, hopefully, run and continue to be up on YouTube. I don't think once you pass that YouTube like cancels your channel or anything like that. I think videos and channels, they live on forever. Oh, I'm talking about pushing mushrooms. I didn't even get a mushroom pull started here. Oh, how convenient is that? There's a stringer right there. A little crooked. We'll just make that straight real quick. Just straighten it out. Oh, what's up? Good morning, True Indica. I see you're there. You're trying to make spinners? Oh, the spinning tops? Cool. I'm gonna make some too. I need it. I got like, I think like close to 10. I try to have like 20 or 30 of them on display all the time. And I realized I only got like 10 of them. Hopefully I'm not going to run out of oxygen or propane here. Hopefully we can have a nice full day of glass. So, yesterday was officially the Black Friday extravaganza, I guess. I guess that's what we can call it. Here in America, people go crazy. I don't know if you heard about like the whole Tickle Me Elmo frenzy. Tickle Me Elmo frenzy was crazy. People get over their big screen, flat screen TVs all the time. I'm wondering if this year's frenzy was all about the Labubus. All those weird, creepy little dolls. I've seen some videos of the Labubus that people were taking them apart and finding cameras in them behind the eyes and stuff. I'm like, oh no. They're going to be recording you. So yesterday was officially Black Friday. And our friend, we call her Polite, because she's real polite. She's she's awesome. She owns a smoke shop here. It's probably the only smoke shop that I've sold to in years. I quit selling paraphernalia and things like that a while ago because I can't really spin that kind of glass anymore. My fingers go numb and I can't really do that sort of work anymore, which is sad because she's always wanting my UFO pipes. Everyone wants my UFO pipes and I can't make them, and it sucks. But yesterday she hosted an event, a Black Friday event, and had a bunch of vendors out in front. And then she whipped up a bunch of breakfast burritos for everyone all day. She had one of her friends or employees or someone just cooking up food on a hibachi, or like one of those I don't know, like a propane what are those called? It's like a rounded skillet, kind of heated skillet thing. Like a disco. The discos. And man, that was awesome. And a bunch of goodies, a bunch of pastries inside, and pumpkin pie, and it was nice. It was a good little festivity there. A bunch of vendors there. People were there shopping all day. It was good for sales good to just show off my work. A lot of people came by and they saw that I made several posts on Facebook, on Nextdoor.com, on I believe on my Insta, my Twitter, or X, I guess now, and here on YouTube, letting people know if you mention these posts, anything that I share out there, if you mention them, you'll get buy one get one free. So if you're watching this video right now, then you are lucky enough to hear that I'm doing a buy one get one free deal. This is an exclusive offer to those of you who are following me enough to be able to hear these deals and these specials. I'm not posting it up at my table. Everyone else gets regular prices. But if you are one of my subscribers, one of my followers on any of my social media sites, then you're hearing about this special and this deal. So it's an exclusive offer to basically all of my supporters. I appreciate you guys. This is the year-end deal. Buy one, get one free. I already do, like, buy one, get one half price. That's pretty much my deal. You buy one at 20 or two for 30. Like, that's an amazing deal. And people take me up on that all the time. That's almost like close to wholesale at that point. And I know my wholesale, I know my bottom line, so I can even drop it lower, and that's why I can offer wholesale to the public, and to just people who want to get a whole bunch of one thing or several things all at once. These right here, the $5 mushroom. You can find this on Facebook at the original $5 mushroom. It's either a page or a group. I'm pretty sure it's a page. And that's a green one there. We got to make more. But what was I saying? Oh, but these here, I can wholesale them. So if you want to get a bunch of these without the cord, just like this, just glass alone, I can drop these down at 50 of them for $100. So basically it's $2 a piece on them. So let me know if you're interested in that sort of deal. And of course, you got to pay shipping as well. But to send 50 of them would be like one of those small priority mail boxes, which I think priority mail is like $10. So it's not bad in shipping. I believe it's what. Ow! I just stabbed myself in my knee. I got glass over here. I need to move that. That sucks. So priority mail, they have whatever you can fit in that box. It doesn't matter the weight. You can ship a bar of gold, I guess. I would never do that. That would be dumb. But how do you that's interesting. How do you get gold if you purchase it online? I mean, they ship it to you, right? That'd be dumb. But can you buy a bar of gold? That'd be interesting. You have it shipped to your home. Alright. So that's a darker green. I definitely want to use a darker green, not this lighter green. Here, we'll pull some stringers real quick. Or at least one here. So how are the tops coming out? You said you make 3, but 2 are good. So only one was a mistake, huh? They're not too hard, but it's just getting them centered. That's the trick. with those. Man, why is this all bubbling and boiling? It just wants to fester. What is this, the forest green? This so weird. Alright, that's a good amount. I didn't really take inventory. I just realized yesterday someone was asking for green, and I'm like, well, these are green, but they're more of like a yellowish green. So I need to get some more darker green mushrooms here. A lot of artists will pull their tips off right here, but I just like to pull them all the way out. That way I'm not wasting any color, but you can pull that off. It's not too bad. It's not like you're wasting too much money there. Oh, you're making chicken, huh? Oh, is it dinner time there? Or what? Okay, so when you center it, the trick to centering it, you know how when you flatten any sort of like graphite tool against a hot glass and it creates the rings? You want to make sure you don't fire polish those rings away. So when you flatten it down on your pad or your paddle, whatever you're flattening it down on, it should create those like heat rings, and there should be a center one. Like it just naturally happens. It's just how it is, as it is. That's just the way that it was created to do. Was for some reason that heat goes from the center out like a shock wave, and it'll leave those little tiny indentions. Here, watch. I'll try to show you. Let's do one right now. So you just get it rounded. And then depending on how wide and how big you want this to round out, you can make these super huge and just keep on gathering, keep gathering. What I do is I get it to just where it's pretty much the same size as the rod that it's supposed to be. So I got to gather like that, the pulled point that's all sticking out. And when it's almost about to like marble up here, just like starting to get wider on each side, that's when I go down. Push it. Make sure it's nice and flat. This is when you got to make sure it's flat, or else it can be like crooked and have that wobble, And then when you spin it, it'll look like that, right? So you make sure when you spin it, it's nice and straight, nice and flat. So as you spin it, I'm trying to show you I'm spinning it here. So it should be nice and straight. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but there's those rings right there. They're like the heat rings. And you should be able to find the center point. I guess it doesn't matter what color we do. Here, let's just go with the green one here. I'll make it a little softer of a flame so we don't have any kind of bubbling or boiling issues. I don't know if this green is going to do that. Looks like it's going to. I don't even want to use that. Here, maybe this green will be better. Like, why? That forest green, that jade green, and it wants to like bubble and boil and fester. I'm like, nope. Those kind of colors are definitely not good for the bottoms here. You want to have nice, smooth pieces of glass on the bottom. No bumps. And then, there's so I don't know if I can show you this, alright. So when you heat up your color, what you can do is you bring it close to your glass. I don't know if I can do this without touching it. And you should be able to use like the heat, the brightness of that glass will then, it'll show you like the reflection. I don't know if I can show it to you on the camera. But then it'll bring out those rings And then you can see that center ring, and you just want to really, really try to just spin it and then just push it on there. And at this point is when you can either move it up or down or left or right to really get it centered. I'll heat it up and I'll push it on just a little bit more as I'm spinning it and really make sure it kind of widens out and it centers itself. And then I'll pull it back off. And as you pull it, that's when you really want to get it nice and straight. Like you're pulling like you're putting a puntee on there, and you want to make that nice and straight, right? So then you can let go of it. It's nice and straight, and then that's when you flame cut it off the bottom there. And that's the best trick and technique that I can give you is looking at those heat rings and utilizing that and just trying to hit the bullseye. And that's hard. That's the hand-eye coordination that I can't teach you. That comes with experience and practice. So just keep on trying over and 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 over until you make like 100 million of them, and then you might finally get one perfect. Because once you get them centered, that's one thing, right? And they spin, and that's good. But there's some of these that when you spin them, they look like they're just standing straight up and not moving at all because you have them perfectly centered. There's no wobble whatsoever. And that's when they're like so precise and beautiful. And then you sell those for $1 million. No, I just sell them still $5. I don't even put them to the side or nothing. Nothing special. They're just same. And then here, I really, really make sure that dot is fully melted on to that clear glass. So it becomes fused, and there's no way that it can just like knock off. So at that point, you want to get in between the color and the clear glass and really fuse the conjoining area together. And that's kind of a big dot. I'm going to pull some of this off. Like, that's huge. It doesn't have to be so big. I don't know what the smallest dot is that you could do. That would be a cool little experiment to see how small of a dot can you do to make it spin. I wonder if I've never done that. I've never checked to see like, ooh, can I just put a little, like a knob, a little tiny dot, little 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter dot. So by pulling that, I got rid of the, I probably should have showed you, but it was like this. Let me show you. So it was rounded like this instead of more like that and flowing, the bulb was like this. You don't want to have like the really sharp points in like that. You want to have your glass flowing more like that at the connections and not have your connections like that, because it could snap off like that. When your glass is flowing, when you're doing the connections, it won't break or snap off. So that's what I did, is I made sure that connection point is really, really nice, and you can see that point's a little crooked. I guess when I moved it away from the heat, it kind of moved down some. I'm just going to round it out a little bit. And then you just heat it up right there and do the pull. Make sure that you put your puntee on real nice and straight. Oh, sometimes the heat ring isn't in the center. Hmm. Well, pressing it down and making sure that that first press is centered is key. That is hard, and you got to make sure that you're looking at when you're pressing it down. Look at this side and make sure it's not coming out like more thicker this way compared to on this side. You just want to make sure it's not shifted over this way or that way too much. And it's hard to do, and you only have like a moment. So as you're pressing it, you might need to move it this way or move it this way, but just subtly and gradually. But also in the moment, so quickly in the moment that it's molten before it sets up, and that's like within seconds. So it's got to happen fast, but precisely and in full control. You don't want to like move it over too much, or. And those are the things that it'll come from practice. But these spinning tops, these are awesome. I should probably be selling them for like eight to $10 and not five. And then full color ones and really nice ones, I should be able to get $20 to $30 on some really really awesome ones. But I never even put the time and energy into spinning tops. I just make them clear, one dot, keep them simple. Sometimes I've learned we can put all the layers and all the this and all the that's on the glass, but sometimes less is more. I keep selling out on all of my simple clear glass, my simple mushrooms with one color, my simple tops with one color, all clear glass, my spirals. I sell out on all these things. It's the one thing that people love to purchase in bulk, wholesale, and get them into their shops, their stores. Yesterday I was talking to a vendor, and we're always vending with each other at different events. And she told me how she loves to, like, at the end of the day, a lot of vendors will trade each other. And I'm like, yeah, like this is the best time too, because now we get to trade each other for Christmas gifts. We don't really have to spend money on the holidays because we have all these items that we've created or somehow acquired, and we can then trade those out to others and be like, hey, you want to trade this cool mushroom for, I don't know, those earrings, or that handmade crochet blanket, or this or that, or anything that they have. And she was saying, yeah, like I get so many different things through trades that I always have like an eclectic inventory of different items here to sell. And I'm looking around like, oh, you do have a whole bunch of different things, and you get it from different people. I'm like, you can always sell my glass too. Like, I don't even mind if we're even at the same spot. You know, just keep it the same price, and then we're not like trying to outdo or underprice each other. Just keep it the same across the board. And I was like, you can take my glass, and my glass will be in two different places now. Which, I used to do that all the time. I had local individuals who were like their own personal distributors. They decided they wanted to purchase my glass. So they would buy so much, I'd get it to them at wholesale pricing. Oh, I guess I didn't give you any tips or tricks on that, but I pull it at least an inch and a half long, and then really melt it down and give it a really big, nice, a decent sized handle there. But everyone has their own ways. You don't really have to have a big handle. I just find I think it's easier for people to spin them. But I don't know. It might be easier for them to spin them if it's a little bit skinnier. I personally just think this. Alright, let's get back to making some of these mushrooms real quick. I gotta make either or, so it doesn't even matter. And then I might make some flat back flowers. I only have one flower on my table. But I do want to get, like, I don't know, at least 3 to 5 green ones hanging up so I have at least that many. I'm trying to think of other colors I need. I could do purples. I try to make sure I have like every color of the rainbow. I know I got reds. I think I have orange. I know I have yellow. I know I have green. Well, a yellow green. We will have the greens now. I think I have cobalt. I may need some more cobalt. And then some lighter blues, like the peacock blues, the teal kind of color. That's your problem, not even rim. Oh, when you're pushing it down, you're like barely even getting the rim on the edge. It's just making sure you do a nice gather. Like right now, this would be a perfect gather when it's just barely starting to round up and getting almost like a 0.5 millimeter to a millimeter thicker on each side. And then push it down. That one was really crooked and I had to push it over to the right twice. But you see how much of a rim there is. It's a good size of a rim there. And then spinning it, you know, you can see it's pretty flat. And just do that same color again. At least have 2 of these. I have mostly red, so I can do any other color. And then look for that rim, the center, touch it on. And see, I'm barely touching it on right there. And I can go in and heat it now and even touch it on more. So I can heat up that color and then really push it on and push it a little bit more. So then it gets a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. And at that point, I can really see it as I'm spinning it, how much to push it to the left or to the right. And then pull it off. And then round it. Melt it to the clear glass there, going around the edge. So the flame is not touching the tip of the color at all. It's right in between the color and the clear of the bottom of the top there. And really getting it to seal together. And had I pushed it and not stopped to show you that little bit, I wouldn't have to melt it in so much, but there we go. That looks good. Nice and round it. And you gotta always keep spinning it. Never let it set up. If you stop, then it's gonna move and start to bend downward or slope downward. So you gotta keep spinning, allow it to set up. Never stop spinning. Even when you're grabbing your punty off the table or whatever you're doing, you still want to keep spinning. Even when I'm hitting this, I'm still spinning, right? Get your punty going. Your spin's still going. This is when you want to attach it as you're spinning. Or I might stop with the spin, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. What do I do? What do I do? We touch it. It was a quick stop, and then go back into the spin. Move over your puntee, get it nice and straight, and then pull it taut like you're pulling a rope. And keep that rope nice and straight there, nice and tight. And then once it's settled, then you can let go. Go directly in, melt right above the flattened part there. And I'm going directly, I guess perpendicular, a right angle with the flame to the rod. There is no like side angle or putting the flame into the top at all. It's just going directly to the rod, allowing the edge of the flame to be right at the edge of where the clear glass and the top, the flattened part is out. So I'm just lining up that line right there. Oh my gosh, don't tell me my oxygen is running low. Don't do this to me again. It's like, am I going through a bottle a week now? Am I really blowing glass that much these days? You know, I used to not blow glass this much, but things have changed in our paradigm here with the family. Ever since my wife lost her Social Security, I've been having to really, really up how much I'm putting into our bills and things. So I'm really having to make a lot more glass these days, a lot more orders, and I don't know, but I think that my flame was getting softer than I had it set. I don't know, maybe not. I'll check here in a moment. I really hope I have oxygen to keep working for hours today. I don't think my family, my wife and son is going to wake up till like maybe 10 o'clock this morning. They slept in yesterday. I think they're going to sleep in today. It's fall break. They got Thanksgiving turkey still in the brain. All that tryptophan. They're just like sleeping like babies over there. Alright, and then just make sure it's nice and rounded. Snap it off. Always preheat the tool so you don't shock your glass with a cold piece of metal. I grab it right there nice and firmly. Snap it off. Go down and just flame kiss it. Get rid of that puntee mark. You don't want to melt it down too much. And then, bam, call it a day. And I know I was going to make the mushroom, but I decided since we were talking about that, I was like, let's just show you again real quick, another demo. And I needed another green anyways. Maybe I should make one more, and then we have at least 3. And then we'll get back to the mushrooms. Makes sense to me. We'll do one more. And thank you. I'm glad that my streams motivate you. You know, I try. I was telling someone the other day how, you know, even when I'm learning something new, like the Super Mario mushrooms, right? I don't like keep it to myself. You know, back in the days, glass artists, they were always about like keeping things secret. And I'm more about open source. I'm more all about like, you know, if we all learn together at the same rate, then humanity will advance faster at the same rate together, right? So I just think of it in that way, that, you know, I might be learning a technique right now, but I'm going to film it. I'm going to film it live. I might even tell you the tips and tricks and techniques that I'm trying to do to master it and to make it happen. And so, yeah, like yesterday I was having that conversation. Like, I don't try to keep it to myself. You know, it's out there. If you are able to do the things that I can do with glass, then more power to you, then that's awesome. If you can watch a video without me being in your studio and being able to pull off the things that I can do, that's amazing. And I support that. I think that's badass. But that's just how I am. And I guess not everyone is like that, right? Oh, okay. So I'm working Boro. You're doing soft glass spinning tops. That could be why the center point isn't that the heat rings aren't in the center. Maybe I don't know how soft glass works. It could be different. Soft glass might have a little bit more malleability and move a little bit more like liquid. I do have a bunch of soft glass. That's what I just stabbed my knee with. A box. I got boxes of soft glass underneath. I got more soft glass than I have in Boro. That's so sad. I wish I had as much borosilicate colors as I do in soft glass. I just got boxes and boxes of it. Like three cases of colored glass. At least I would imagine each box would hold like 2 to 4 pounds of color. It's amazing. I don't know if I can show you. I don't even know what it's worth. And I don't know if I'm ever going to use it and touch it. I would actually rather just get it to a soft glass artist. Maybe keep a couple sticks for myself. Because if I ever do want to get into it again, maybe there's someone who has Boro glass and they want to trade me for their soft glass. I don't know. That would be interesting. Maybe there's a soft glass artist who's got some stained glass that wants to trade for this. I need some stained glass. I want to do a chessboard or several. That's one thing coming up soon. If you're watching, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get the notifications. I do want to make a complete chess set live. All, what is it, 36? 8, 16, 32. All 32 pieces. I've always wanted to make a smokable chess set where each piece is a one hitter and then the king is a full-size bowl, and maybe the queen too, or maybe the queen will be like just a little bit bigger or something like that. And so every time that you capture one of their pieces, you get to have a little victory hit. And if you capture the king, that's the end of the game, and then you get to sit there and smoke a complete bowl. And if you capture the queen, then you get to take like several hits or something like that, Maybe have a one hitter that holds like at least enough for like 3 to 5 hits. Usually my one hitters are like, for me they're one hitters. Mr. Lungs of Steel over here. Iron lungs. But I also used to train myself on a 5-footer that I used to have with a bubble on the bottom, so it was bigger than 5 feet. That bubble, man, it expands. It makes it crazy. But I used to train on a 5-footer back in high school. I put a lot of hours into that, and a lot of training. And then how long can you hold it in? 'Cause I was like literally training myself. You know what's funny is when I was younger, I used to sit like as a kid before I got into smoking or doing anything. I used to sit as a kid and I would hold my breath with a stopwatch. I don't know if any of you guys did this. And I would see how long I could hold my breath. And I got up to like 2.5 minutes. It was pretty cool. And then I became a swimmer. So I was able to like swim long distances underwater. And then I started to smoke ganja. And then I was able to take like the biggest hits out of all of my friends. I could take like a full one hitter all in one breath. And I'm talking like, you got to clear all the air that's in there, all the clean air, and suck all that up into your lungs and then take the smoke in too. So somehow, I don't know how I did it. I took 10 feet of airspace into my lungs. That's the only way that you could clear a 5-footer. And you just like, you go real slow, let it get all, and then once you're at the top, you go, and you do a power hit, all in one breath. I don't know how I did it. I don't think I can do that today, but I ain't gonna lie. I do have a 2-footer on the side of my bench right here. It's like, it almost stands up to the top of my table. Just right on the edge, just right down here. Right down there in the corner. I got a nice 2-foot tube glass that, I can hit it with ease and use that as my morning wake and bake. It's no problem. Whereas others, they just like choke and they're done for the day. Like, oh, I don't know. Lungs of steel over here. Why was I even talking about that? I was holding my breath when I was younger. And I trained as a kid, not realizing that that was going to come in handy. I want to buy a galaxy pendant with the opal from you. Awesome. Somehow we got to get it to you. Do you like that, huh? The chest stonedness. Yeah, that's going to be one of the highest games ever played. Because how many captures? Until you can capture the king. Like some people can do it like in a few moves, right? But it's gonna take a while. You're gonna have to like capture a few of the pawns, maybe capture a rook, capture a bishop here and there. Maybe get the queen and be like, heck yeah, hold on a second, I'm not done taking my hit. Hold on, you can't move until I'm done. Make them wait. Nah, it's one of those games that you don't make anyone wait, right? Like, if you're not taking your time, you're going to probably get beat. So you better take your time and really look at every move and every move after that and every move after that. I like chess. Chess is fun. And I've made a stained glass board before, one time, only once. I sold the whole entire set for $420. It probably should have sold for more. But I think what it was is I figured out that the board I wanted to get I think it was like $50 for, maybe 100. I think it was like, $50 was what I priced it at. And then the rest of the pieces, I was just thinking, well, if I'm getting at least $5 for each one, then I guess that'll be all right. Not realizing that, the knights, those ones, with the horse's head, those ones were pretty interesting. And the other thing too is I've seen glass chess sets where it didn't even resemble any of the pieces. They created their own little styles and versions of it. And I thought that was pretty cool. All right, are we gonna make one more? I guess we'll make one more. But I mean, this idea, I made my stained glass chessboard back around 1999 when I was out in California before Y2K hit. So the summer right before Y2K, I went out to California to a place called to Pomona, California, to the Pomona Arts Colony on 2nd Street there, 2nd and I think Park, either Park or Gary. I think it was Park Street, Park Avenue. Okay, another thing that I do is when I push it down, spin it, take a look, do I need to move it over? Push it down, spin it, do I need to like move it over any? So I'll like kind of push it down, spin it, push it, spin it, push it, spin it. And as I'm doing that, that's when I'm really checking to see, do I need to move it over left or right or anything like that. And then some of the glass, when it wants to boil or bubble, you just want to add either more propane or soften the oxygen. I usually soften the oxygen so that way you're not bringing the whole flame up more. You just turn it down a little bit. And then also another trick is you just want to spin that colored glass right next to the clear and just keep spinning it, holding it there, kind of eyeballing it as, you know, where's the center, where's the center. And then just kind of push it on right there. You know, don't do it too quickly. And then if it is crooked, you can technically, you know, you can spin it, you can look at it from the bottom angle, and you can see like, oh, do I need to move it over some? And you can use your paddle to then move it over. You know, I don't think I need to move this one over at all. That's another thing too, is rounding them up. You know, if they did have that one weird edge, you can also spin this whole dot all the way around like that, and it'll get rid of that edging, you know. So if you do that and then you round it up around that thing, it's going to flatten out the side and create like this. So then you can just, when you heat it up, it's going to then get that gradual melting slope. So like, let me just show you real quick. See how it like kind of like just got real flat on that edge there. And now we go in and we melt it so it's all nice and rounded again. Because of my tool, that paddle flattened it out on the sides a little bit here and there. So then you just go back in to round it, use the heat, and that'll make it all nice and smooth. Making sure, you know, you want to slow down if it's like slumping to one way or another. And then you just heat it up and get it to melt down to itself. And you get your punchy, and this will be the last top for the green ones for now. We'll do a couple mushrooms, maybe some daisies. I think my oxygen is okay. I think I might have tricked myself and just had the oxygen set real light, real soft. And I was like, wait a minute, why is it extra soft there? You know, I think I moved that thing over and it looks crooked now. I think I pushed it over crooked. Let me see what I did here. I'm going to melt it. I'm going to get it all molten again. So now I can see which way do I need to move it over some. Put it in my left hand. Alright. That's funny. I moved it crooked. Like I had it on there all nice. I can't get them all perfect. What is that? 2 out of 3 for myself also? Yeah, this one looks like it's going to have a bit of a wobble or spin to it. I don't know if I can straighten it out. We'll see. When I do this pull here, we'll see if I can just get it nice and straight. I feel it. Yeah, I think when I flattened it, there's one side that's a little bit wider than the other, so it's kind of throwing me off. I can see it lifting up and then down, up and down. Every time I spin it around, there's one side higher than the other. So we just try to pull this, and then let's just try to get it to straighten out. I'm kind of pulling it up in an angle and then pulling it straight out. So that way, I hope that it goes back onto axis there. And we cut it off. See how long? And it's about probably a 4mm, 5mm rod at that point that I pull it. And then I'll bring all of that back down to about there. I'm going to start from the tip and just slowly work your way in, completely spinning and rounding it up. And I always go spin one way, then spin back the other. One thing that I noticed watching a master, Robert Mickelson, when I was watching his video back in 1997, I think, and it was called Just a Demo. It was like 97, 98 when he came out with it. Just a Demo. I was noticing his hand, he would spin it 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. He'd spin it twice this way and then rotate backwards. Then 1, 2, and then 1. And this was his way of counterbalancing the glass to make sure it wasn't creating a spiral or, spinning the glass in one way than the other. And so I watched him do that. I'm like, oh, okay, there's actually a trick to the flow of the glass. Once you can actually watch the glass move and the way it melts and the way it flows, you can really see that. If you have straight lines, like if you draw a stringer down a rod and you start to melt it, eventually that line will start to just like twist back on itself. And that's just from the rotation of the solid glass is spinning faster than the liquidy glass. The liquid molten glass will slow down because it doesn't have as much torque, as the glass that's solid. It doesn't have the same torque and consistency as a solid glass, and when it liquefies, it slows down. Maybe that's what happens on them hot summer days. We get all liquefied and we get so hot that it feels like it's such a long, hot day. Like, dang, this day is endless. It's like heat slows down time or something. And then there's another one. That's the last top for right now. We'll do some mushroom. Alright, that kiln's pretty good. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. And I got to remember to turn my kiln the proper way. Sometimes, I'll set it, it's low, medium, high. I don't have any way of digitally dialing it into a certain heat. I do have my digital pyrometer on the side that I can see where the temperature is, but I can't keep it there and just let it soak it's at, it's at 1080, 1050, something like that. So normally what I do is I bring my kiln up to around 1080, and then I'll just drop it to low, and then it'll drop down into the 900s, and it'll still be warm enough to keep the glass from cracking. But then you want to bring it back up to that. I always make sure that my glass gets to 1080, and then I turn it off so then all the glass can sit at 1080, and then slowly start to cool down from there to where it's sitting for, at least 20 minutes by the time it reaches 1050. And then at that point, you're at that annealing point. And then you let it drop down, and then you're in the 900 range, where then you have your other annealing point. And as long as you can keep those points there long enough, then your glass should be good. It should be fired properly. But a lot of the glass, they want you to soak it at those temperatures at about 1050 and like 970, or is it 910? I don't know. I think it's around 950 though, also. And then once it's under 700, then that's pretty much at the point where, like, if you haven't annealed it properly, then that's when it can, like, crack on you or cool. And then by, like, 200 degrees, you can open up the kiln safely. And I can extract glass out of my kiln at around 200. 180, I can easily pick up glass from the kiln at 180 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit. Over time, you just, you lose you lose your sense of touch working with the flame. The sides of your hands right here, from being next to the flame, you lose kind of the sense of touch right here, your nerves. After 30 years of blowing glass, you just a part of the job. And then the closer you get, working with little tiny pieces of glass, like this is short right here. It's only that big. The flame is about a hand length away from my fingers there. Alright, so with the mushrooms, depending on how deep you want to push them in, I could push one in right now and keep it pretty shallow. Just like this, I could push a mushroom. I don't have to round it all the way up, and it could work. Just want to make sure you get that centered. Push it in. And then by pushing it in quicker than rounding it all up, you get it in there a lot faster. So you're saving a little bit of time. It helps to bring these, when you're mass producing them, it helps to, make 100 a lot quicker. I can probably sit here and make 50 to 100 in a day. If I really push myself, I can make 100 in a day. And easily I can make a dozen to 20 in an hour. If I'm not sitting here and chit-chatting and talking with you guys, I really work a lot faster. But I like to share, keep this all open source. And the mushrooms inside there. You get the punchy ready. And then as we let that cool, well, you can see it's still like glowing hot. But it's cool to the point where it's not going to like fuse these pieces of glass together. You touch your punchy to the bottom. So it's a molten punchy to a warm bottom there. Or the end of the rod. I call it the bottom because it's going to be the bottom of the pendant. So the bottom of the mushroom stem there. And then go above the mushroom stem. You want to have a good distance away from the stem, at least like 5 to 7 millimeters away, so you don't pull the top of that mushroom stem and make it pointy. You get that molten to where it starts to move around. Pull it slowly, keep it controlled. Figure out where you want the front to be on that mushroom. Pull it forward, bring it backward. And when I say forward, that just means to where I've decided is going to be the front of the mushroom. So I decided this is going to be the front, so I pull it forward towards it this way, and then bring it back around from itself. Melt the bottom of where you connected that end. Then get your your reamer, and I just force it on that backside. I just get the reamer and just push that molten glass and flatten it down. So now there's not a big old knob from where I pulled the glass from the rod. And then we just round the whole thing up. I'll go in and I'll make sure that the inside is rounded. So we get this whole part to come around, because it was like jagged. It went like straight, boom, We get that nice and rounded first. Then you go around, heat up the whole thing, and then you can bring your reamer in from each side and slowly keeping it rounded. Making sure the hole doesn't close up. I'm just going to do a little tiny bit of detail work. I'm also going to pull the loop upward. And make sure it's straight. I think that's straight. It looks a little bit funky here. And this looks like it's completely crooked, but when you hold it on axis and you spin it, it'll be all nice and straight. And we snap it off, pop it off. So it might look crooked, but I was lining up the pendant and the loop with itself. Somehow things got a little bit wonky there, but the finished product, you won't even be able to tell. And that's a done piece. Drop it in the kiln, make another. All right. And I do need to get me a new chair here. It keeps on slipping down, and that really sucks. All right, let's make probably 2 more on this one before it gets too close to my fingers. And then all these rods, as you can see, there's a bunch stacking up right here. They end up going in a little pile underneath my table here. And then from time to time, I may just pull them out and start melting them together, which is a good practice. It's a good technique to learn how to fuse your glass and really try not to get any seam lines in there. Try not to trap any air bubbles. And the trick is just getting them both extremely white hot, extremely molten, that same heat, and then touch them together, and they should flow together. All right, let's do another mushroom. We're just going to make a few, probably, 5 of them total. Push it in, hold it there, and then I push it all the way in. That's one technique I do with these mushrooms, is I let that color kind of just stew right there at the bottom with all the molten clear glass. And the tip of the color is like all molten at that point. I just stick it in just the tip, and it kind of allows that colored glass to get molten, and then you force it in, and it allows it to spread out, and you get a bigger mushroom cap that way. At least I do. And also preheating the little bit of color just right on the tip also helps with that. And then keeping the flame directly above the mushroom cap until that you can see the air start getting pinched out around the mushroom stem. And then you just slowly start moving that flame towards the end or the tip, the bottom, the tip of the rod or the bottom of the mushroom. And you just walk the air bubble out. Get rid of the little dimple that's on the bottom there. There'll always be a little dimple there. You just let it round out, and then that's done. Get your puntee once again. Allow this to cool, so you keep that just out of the flame as long as it takes you to get your puntee ready. That should give you enough time to let this cool down, and then when your puntee is ready, and you attach it. Make sure it's nice and straight. Go in. At this point, you could bring your flame down smaller. I've kind of learned how to work the edge of the flame. So I'm not putting it like directly in the flame. I'm kind of just working the edge and allowing it to bring it down. But you could make a smaller flame at this point. I just think it's kind of faster for me to just leave it at the same flame, not worry about it. I don't have any foot pedals to bring my flame up and down quickly. I've never used them ever in my life. So I think it would just throw me off if I decided to do that now, and after 30 years of figuring out how to do this all manually. And then round up the loop. Always go in, and I always pull upward. I go in and then pull upward. I'm doing this kind of go in and then up. In and up, turn it in and up. And that'll allow it to draw it all into a really nice like teardrop shape. And then just grab it. I always put my tweezer in the hole, so my holes are at least like a good, I would say 4 millimeter wide. It's pretty good size. I use a 2 millimeter black cord, a cotton wax cord, and so my cord fits in there comfortably, and with enough room that if anyone wanted to put a chain, a bigger necklace on it, they could. All right, get it in the kiln. Bring the temperature back up. Digital kilns are so much better. I wish I had a digital kiln, then I could just set it to the temperature I wanted. Okay, I think we can make one more. Alright, so we get that molten. Get your stringer of color. We're using green. I go in right here as I'm getting to the end of where I want this clear glass to be. I'll stick the tip in the flame just a little bit to get that to help spread out. And then I put it directly into the middle there, allow it to just kind of sit in that molten glass. Then I push, and that allows that mushroom cap to just grow really big. And I don't know, it just makes my mushrooms look really nice every time. And then you melt all that air bubble down by keeping the flame above the mushroom cap, more on the clear glass, the clear rod, than where the color is, just directly above the mushroom cap. So basically the flame is right at the clear glass, and the edge of the flame closest to the mushroom is lined up on the top. It's just skimming right on top of the mushroom cap. And as that heats up, you'll start seeing underneath the mushroom cap on this side, the pocket of air will slowly just start pinching down around the color. And once you start seeing that, then you can move your flame to be right directly on the mushroom cap, and then you move it to where your flame is now lined up on the underneath side of the mushroom cap. And at this point, you got that air bubble pretty much out, and then you can start holding it at a 45-degree angle, allowing your clear glass to move over this way, falling in and rounding out to the bottom, just like that. Nice and rounded. Allow this to cool. Get your puntee molten. Allow this to cool. Then your puntee will be molten. This should be cool enough to where it doesn't fuse together. And then just make sure that puntee is nice and straight. If your connection point is straight, at least make the rod straight with the other, make your rods straight with each other. And then go above the mushroom cap. Heat up the clear glass directly above it. And at this point, we could also just cut it off entirely and then turn it into a beautiful round marble. This would be a good time to turn it into a marble. Marbles are fun, and people love marbles, and they sell. And if you make them tiny enough, you can sell little tiny marbles for like $15 for your like little terp marbles. For doing dabs and concentrates. And I always keep my loops super thick because, like I say all the time, the loop is one of the most important parts of the pendant. If the loop breaks, it's no longer a pendant. Then you got yourself like a broken marble, basically. And I always say my tweezers always fit inside there. So I know that's big enough for me. If it doesn't fit, then that's too small. But everyone has their own preference, You may use sewing thread to tie up your necklaces. I don't know. But everyone's got their own preference for the size of the loops. I keep mine heavy duty, nice and thick. They ain't going nowhere. Super nice and thick, not going anywhere. Oh, one thing that I do have to make, we can do something fun right now, actually. And I have a repair job. I don't know. that repair job, that's going to be crazy because I'm going to have to put it in the kiln. I probably should have got it in the kiln already. Then I think I'm going to have to use 2 pairs of tweezers or somehow punch it up. Oh man, it's a crazy custom piece that got broken. Someone broke it and they tried to super glue it, I guess. So I gotta fix this piece for one of the shop owners. And it's a pair of sunglasses that goes on this like really awesome water pipe that's a homie. And it fits on his face, the glass sculpted face. It fit nice and snugly, perfectly on the ears. I don't know how he did it, how it was made so perfect like that. But I'm going to do my best to bring it in the flame, not crack it. And we're going to see. I might have to just hand nail it. I don't know if I can get them in the kiln and bring them out of the kiln and work them. Like, I think I need to actually be able to touch them and hold each piece in my hand. All right, but let's work on this new piece. Something fun. So I got this pink right here. This is actually pink tubing. It's hollow, but I'm using it as a solid. So I've just basically been taking it in the flame and then condensing the end here and bringing all the air out. Basically the same thing we would do with the mushroom. After you push it, you start with the end and slowly work the air bubble out. So we had an order for these here, little dab tool, little dab wand, and they came out awesome. I really like them. But apparently, she wants it thicker. So I'm going to make one thicker, I guess. Not as thin. I'm like, do you mean bigger? Like a bigger circumference? Or you mean just a thicker, like not as smashed down? So I was a little confused. So we're just going to go bigger and thicker. I'm not really sure. You know, if people understood technical terms, like, oh no, I need a bigger OD, right? An outer diameter, or an inner diameter, or circumference, or the radius, or, you know, the length from top to bottom needs to be 4 millimeters longer or shorter. You know, it's like, oh, I just want it thicker. Well, you want it a millimeter thicker, 2 millimeters thicker? Like, so I'm just going to make it bigger, I guess. But it's going to look like a lollipop when we're done here. A lollipop dabber. And I know that I'm going to have to just make more and more and more of these, because now the shop owner asked me to make a few, and I was like, okay, I'll bring some in. And she liked them, and she gave me a good price on them. And, or she paid me a good price for them. Because I didn't even know what. I was like, I don't know. You tell me, wholesale, what's good, what's fair to you. And then, made 3 of them, and then the person who wanted them, she came in and she got 1 of them. So I know that the other 2 are definitely going to sell to a couple other people, and as soon as she sells those, she's going to need more. She's going to need more. So I'm just going to start busting these out. These are going to be fun to make. These are fun to make. Not going to be. These are. my gosh, have I got the air bubble out yet? Looks like it's just making a bigger air bubble. Alright, I'm heating it up and I'm sucking the air out. Instead of blowing, we're sucking. And you can go on ahead and roll them jokes. It's not like I haven't heard them all already. Yep, glass blowers suck. Or we blow, right? So you're sucking the air in. One thing is you definitely never want to suck the air in from a tube. If the tube has a hole and you start sucking in that hot air, you can vaporize your lungs. You definitely don't want to do that. Alright, I think that's all solid right there. So everything here is tubing. Everything from here to there is all solid. I'm hoping. Can't see through it. Alright, now I'm going to attach a punchy, and now I'm just going to pull a really nice thick stringer. Pretty much we're making our own little solid color stick here of this pink, since I'm out of pink. And this is a nice pink, whatever this tubing is, almost like cotton candy pink. So now we got that nice solid rod of pink there. Alright, that's fairly straight. It's a little bit thicker towards that punchy right there. I was about to pull it, but whatever. Okay, so now we can use this to draw. We can get this big old rod here. Alright, this is going to be fun. So I'm going to heat up about an inch or so on the tip of this 16 millimeter rod. Funny, talking in inches and millimeters, all in the same sentence. Alright, so we're basically just getting this rounded up and then also preheat it about an inch or so, or 25.4 millimeter or so. Something like that. And we'll get our pink, soften the flame. Now we're going to coat the outside of this. Or well, no, not really coat it. I'm going to put 4 lines on each side. So it's going to be a pink base. We're going to add some purple to it and a little bit of white. So this should be thicker than what I was able to pull off. Alright, so basically I went with 4 lines and then a couple other extras. So there's 2 little spots, 2 pretty thick spots there, and then a couple thin spots. We're going to put the purple in between there. You can get that purple on the other side here. I might have to add a little bit more pink on each side just to make sure there's no clear peeking through. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to lay this pink on top of the pink and push that existing pink over and in to that purple urple that we just laid on there to help that. I'm trying to keep that nice straight line. And we can also use our tweezers if there is any little tiny lines to help bring them together. Like pinching a suture together. Basically. That way there's no lines in between there whatsoever. And then we need our white. We'll go with a pretty decent band of white going down on each side here. And that'll accent those colors. Now we got purple on pink with a little bit of white. We're going to bring all of this into the flame and melt it down. We'll make sure any of these like little bumps, see the little bumps right there? We'll make sure all those are flattened down. So we'll go in, we'll heat it up, and just bring it into the rest of the piece with your paddle here. And that way it's all nice and flattened before you start sinking it in the flame, because glass will tend to round up, and sometimes if it's not stuck, it'll grow bigger rather than flattening out, you know. And I see Austin's here. Yo, what's going on? Hi, bumps and bumps. So now we're getting rid of bumps, and now we got the flats. And good morning or good evening. Hello. We're now doing something really fun. We're making a lollipop dabbing tool. For those of you who don't know what dabs are, it's basically just cannabis turned into like essential oils. Basically, like when you take rosemary, you put it into a copper pot, and you basically boil it. You evaporate, collect all the steam. That becomes essential oil. Well, you got to separate it. So all the oils will get trapped into the steam, and then you put those through condensing tubes. And so, you know, they make essential oils, and it's kind of similar to that, but not really. The concentrates, I guess it's more like if you were to take pine needle and cook it down and turn it into a sap. I guess that would be more of a better description for it. Alright, so what I've done is I pulled that color down and basically terminated it, or pulled it all down to one point. The kids' butane candy oil. So this is a dabbing tool, like a scooper, a pick. I almost want to wig-wag this one, but we're going to keep it simple. And bring the flame up some. Melt this down really nicely. If I wig-wag it, then I'm going to have to ask like 20 for it. instead of 15 on the wholesale. I think she's selling them in the shop for about 25 or 30. I think 30. I don't know. I don't really know what these are, what they go for. I don't make this kind of stuff. I don't know this market at all. I utilize concentrates. Yeah, for sugar and wax and icing and butter and batters and shatter. It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good, man. Yeah, but this is pretty much where everyone's headed, right? Like, right now, all of the homies, all the headies, they're the ones who know about this dab market. Everyone else is still learning about how to roll their own, right? Right now, there's grandmas and grandpas who are like figuring out how to take a 2 foot rip. You know, they're still learning how to use regular. Uh-oh, where'd I drop that? All right. Sorry, I dropped some hot glass. I wanted to make sure it wasn't melting any of my things here. My wax. I don't know what that is. Oh. And then there's everyone who uses the Puffcos, right? Everyone's all about the Puffcos now. I don't even own a Puffco, but there's all these awesome glass accessories that people make. And I'm just like, okay, all I need are the sizes, right? Except the OGs like us. I still just would rather just roll one up, twist one up, and not even use a pre-rolled cone. Everyone just got their cones and they're like using a grinder, breaking it up, pouring it on a tray. My friend purchased a tray yesterday that had these 2 holes in it, and then these little tubes with holes. I'm just like, wait, I could make that. I could make these cool devices in glass, possibly. I don't know about the whole tray itself. I mean, I was just talking about stained glass, so I'm like, we could, technically. This is huge. Might better make a regular size one after I make this big old one. So now I'm just melting it down and spiraling it. So what we've done is we've utilized this clear rod as a blank underneath it, so the color glass will go a lot longer of a way. Because color is $60 a pound compared to clear glass, which is only $6 a pound. So color glass is like 10 times the amount of glass, of clear glass. All right, that's a nice little spiral there. I did want to wigwag it. I was almost about to wigwag it, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. My arm is tired right now, and my fingers just went numb. Uh, all right, whatever. What? You got a Bravo Sharp? You're setting it up. This is day zero, or is it going to be day one? You're going to actually work it. Don't just set it up. This is day one, man. Come on. Or do you not have all the like regulators and everything? You still need to go get all the rest of the stuff, or what? Congratulations on grabbing a Bravo. Bravo, bravo. Congratulations. I was actually wearing a shirt either yesterday or the day before that had our friend Bravo 1 on it from Standing Rock. Those of you who know Standing Rock may know Bravo 1. You may have heard of Bravo 1. Oh, look at that beauty. Oh, that's a piece of candy you can't put in your mouth. That'll melt your tongue off. She likes them thick, huh? Alright, we'll make it thick. So now what I'm going to do is we're just going to round up quite a bit of this. Get rid of the ridges from those spirals in there. And turn it into a marble basically, and then we're going to flatten it down. Oh yeah, so my friend has that. He bought a tray. It's just a metal tray, and it's a little small tray. We're talking like 6 by 9 inches. You know, like a photo size, and it's got 2 holes on each end. So I guess you could just do 2 at a time. You put the cones on the bottom underneath, I guess, so they slide over the cones. They're plastic cones that fit in the hole, and they're tapered. So you stick them on through the bottom, or sorry, up through the top in the hole. It slides in, and then from the bottom, I'm guessing, is where you put the papers, the pre-rolled cones, and then you just pour them in and fill them up and slide it off. But I'm thinking, why not make them glass? Make them all nice and clean, right? Why not make something? I'm like thinking, I used to make hookahs. Why not make some sort of a cup, glass, that's got a hole, that's got the taper already built in, and all you do is slide your paper up from underneath, and then the cup on top, you just pour all your shake in. Maybe you can even have it to where it's got a funnel, so it funnels itself all the way down from a big size cup down into a little taper, perfect onto a oh my gosh, I just invented something. I'm shutting up right now. Shut up. Someone's gonna beat you to it, man. Shut up. Like, not everything has to be open source, right? Oh, so you already got, you're gonna have 3 torches going at once. You're gonna learn how to juggle, man. 3 torches all at one time. Let's see it happen. Put it on video. It never happened unless you video it. Just kidding. Nah, don't hurt yourself. But you might need all 3 one day, right? Big old torch, medium, and a tiny torch. I used to have a beautiful Carlisle hand torch, and somehow that got left at a studio. And then years later, I find my friend has my torch. I'm like, well, I guess somehow I lost that one. He said that the shop owner there gave it to him. They didn't know where it came from, but it was a beautiful Carlisle hand torch. So awesome. I don't even remember where I acquired that from. Okay. Is that thicker? Is that better? I don't know if I made it thicker. It almost looks the same. What do you mean thicker, girl? Alright, I'm going to push it down again, try to build this glass up in here some. Dang, I came out all crooked. Gotta always flatten those. Alright, so this is what it looks like so far. Ain't that candy? Ooh, that's sweet. Sweet like candy. Alright, we're gonna make this super thick. Lollipop. I don't know, about 15 on this one. And just this alone should probably be 20 bucks, man. That's the one thing about wholesale. And then I gotta really, really undercut myself in order to sell bunch or bulk. But then I know that they're just constantly sold, right? So if I need to pay my rent and just make some candy. I'm paying my rent with candy these days, not peanuts. That's cool, you got the extra propane and oxy tanks. So you could just go and just hook it up, right? If you got another regulator. I've got me backup regulators. At least, what do I have? I don't know where it's at. It's under my table. But I've got at least, I'm pretty sure it's an oxygen. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I've got one of each. I always try to keep extra handy just in case. I would hate to just one day you're working and all of a sudden your regulator's like just doesn't work, or the pressure starts fucking messing up, and you know. Alright, we're about to flame cut this one off here. We're going to clean up the puntee. Make sure you don't add any schmeckle, no extra color from all the mushrooms and the top that we were making. Don't want to have any of that, so you got to clean that up, make sure it's nice and clear. When I was doing the mushrooms, being that it was blue glass that I was working, or green, or whatever we're working, it was green. It didn't matter if I was adding another piece of green on top of the green. But you know, you put some green on this pink and purple and white, and that green is definitely going to be an eyesore. And you don't want that there. Alright, I wonder if we're going to have any of this candy striping left here. Maybe I can pull off the little baby earrings or something with them. I don't know. I'm going to be able to get any of it coming off. Come on. Just trying to pull the clear glass here. I love it when my fingers go numb and I can't feel a thing. It's just my favorite part of glass blowing. Ow. This sucks. Alright, we're getting a little bit. Oh my gosh, it feels so weird to spin glass with your fingers just completely numb. I think my pinky is the only one that I have filling in, which is weird. Usually it comes up from the pinky and goes through. Oh, come on, come on, come on. I don't want to stop the spin because I don't want to lose this cane here. This is nice. I'm going to get this color on here. I can make some candy earrings with this. Oh, gosh. Ow, my fingers hurt. My fingers are burning now. I've never gone this long with them being numb and just keep going, keep going. They're actually burning. Ow. Ow. I'm gonna have to stop here. Alright, let's flame cut this. I can't deal with this anymore. Oh, gosh. Oh, the relief. That would be a beautiful spinning top, wouldn't it? $1 million right there. I'll give it to you half price. Buy one, get one free for $1 million. Like, I'll gladly make you 10 more. If buy one, get 10 for free. $1 million. That'd be great if someone actually took me up on that, right? Some celebrity, someone like Bill Gates, or I don't know who else. The Bezos, Mr. Bozo clown himself, Jeff Bezos. All right, candy this, candy that. All right, that's thicker. If that ain't thick enough, then I don't know what she wanting. I don't even think real lollipops are this thick. It'll terminate that front, bring it all into a nice spiral. Beautiful spiral. Oh, I almost dropped it. I hit the punchy on the torch. That could have snapped this thing right off onto my leg. Woo, that would have been nice. Had some hot legs for breakfast. Alright, we're almost done with this one. It's pretty easy to finish these off. Oh my gosh, these kitty cats are over here yelling at me. I'm hungry. Feed me, sir. Come feed me, master. These kitties. They don't even have to do anything. They just, meow, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Like, come hold this for a second and spin this, kitty. I'll feed you real quick. Oh, you don't have opposable thumbs. Oh, okay. I'll go do it. Oh, you can't open your own can of food? Oh, okay, I'll do it. Now, if this ain't thick enough, then I'm just going to make one with a big old huge 16 millimeter rod as a stick itself. We got to put a stick on this to turn it into a lollipop still. And how flat do we want to do it? We could keep it kind of rounded out like that, or we can really, really flatten it. I don't know, does she want a round lollipop? It's too late for that. That one little bit of that spiral got weird, huh? That's interesting. All this eye candy. Or glass candy. Pretty cool. Alright, I think the backside is pretty good. I can show you how to flip a punchy the way I do it. Make sure your punchy is clean and clear, of course. Then you want to do it when it's molten. It has to be when it's molten. Attach it, get it on there, and snap it. And then you got to spin that one because it's going to be molten. Maybe adjust it, get it straight again. Then you can round this in. And we didn't have to do that with this one. I'm just showing you how to flip a punchy from one side to the other. You want to do it when it's molten so you don't snap it off of both of them. You want to make sure that that one's all molten and grabbing a hold. But we can then round this other side up just a little bit. And then you can see this side and this spiral, which came out beautiful as well. Alright, just adding the last minute perfect details, just flattening it out real nicely. Now it looks like it was made in a candy factory here. Look at that beautiful spiral on the opposite side there. So now we need to get our rod here, which, yeah, that could be it right there. I'm using the Ghost White. So it goes a little bit clearer, translucent at the ends where I attach it. And I'm trying to kiln it to bring it back. But I think it gives it a nice little look. That way you know it's not candy. No one's putting it in their mouth also. I'm going to attach it directly in the center there. And pull. I'm going to heat up this back side here, make sure that's all nice and flush and fluid. I got to go around the whole thing and really sink it in nicely. And also keep it straight. And that's the hard thing. Is trying to keep it straight in all angles here. See, we got that front edge. You got to get this back edge. Now, if she's talking about the lollipop stick actually being thicker, I wouldn't like the way that that would come out. I think that would be weird. And I'm hoping that that's not how she wants it designed. But all I can do is make it once. If it's not like 100% the first time, and we can see what was not like. So all we know is it wants it thicker. We're gonna make this thicker, but I don't know what part specifically. And then I'll try it again, and if she doesn't say specifically what's wrong with this one, then I don't know what to do. I can't fix it any better than that. But that's a nice straight stick there. That looks pretty good. All the way around. Nice and straight. Nice. Yeah. So that's fused. This shouldn't be. It should snap off. Although, do I want to snap it off right now? I've actually been doing the end part with it on its side. And how much of this do we want? We don't need it that long. We'll probably cut it about there. We go on one side, go on the other. I'm holding it with the tweezers because as it starts to melt, I want to pull it and make sure that we don't get any sort of bend in the stick itself. And then we're going to heat up this end here. And it's interesting to go around something when you got it puntied on the side. You have to really learn how to move around the flame and everything. We're going to round this up some. And then we're going to use our tweezers here and flatten it. We just grab the inside here without the serrated part, without the teeth, and we flatten it just like that. So now there's a nice little scoop or a pick. And I don't know if she means like she needs the pick part. Actually, thicker. She wants a scoop more than a pick. Just go in and give it a slight bit of a point on the end. And then flatten it down to one side. And then you got yourself a nice little scoop there. See? You got the scoop on the end. Nice little lollipop right there. I think if I had this on my table, I'd probably sell it for $30 to $40. Alright, and now we gotta try to snap it off here. Whew, I was worried. Was it gonna come off? It gets scary if the punty doesn't come off those spirals nice and clean, and if it pulls any of that off, you lose your candy. You lose that eye candy. So now we just melt that down, get rid of that punchy mark, get it all nice and rounded, nice and smooth. And it's hard to hold this when it's a rounded stick, so I'm really holding it tight, doing my best not to allow it to slip out of this here. And that's done, guys. I'm going to put this in the kiln real gently. We're not going to drop it. And I think we're going to call it a day. I think that's been a long enough 2-hour long demo. But also remember, guys, if you mention this video, if you see any of my posts anywhere from now until 2026, that's all the rest of the year, even through the new year. I'm stuck here. You get buy one, get one free. All Gardenia glass. That's a special for all of my supporters, all of my followers, all of my friends, all my fans here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and that's a special gift from me to you. So thanks for watching. Everything right now is buy one get one free. So let me know, including that Galaxy glass. It'll be the same amount to ship both. All right. And if you want to share this with anyone, you want to let people know that they can also get buy one get one free, that's fine by me. If you want to share that with some of your friends. All right. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Love and blessings. You guys have a beautiful day. I'm out.